Well, Monday is St. Patrick's Day. That is the day people of Irish descent celebrate their heritage and feel good about themselves. But this March 17th, federal Liberals hope that they will have something or things to celebrate as well, and then they'll feel pretty good. That is because voters in 4 federal ridings will be choosing new MPs in by-elections. By-elections that were triggered by the resignations of 4 Liberal MPs. The party thinks it can't hold on to 3 of those 4 ridings, and maybe the 4th one as well. But how does it look on the ground the weekend before the votes? Well, we're now going to check in with our CBC reporters who are covering the races. CBC Radio's Alison Crawford has been checking out the 2 races in Toronto. She joins us now from Toronto. Alison, 2 races, 2 big names, 2 former Liberal leadership candidates running. Well, let's look first at the riding of Toronto Centre and see how that is going. That was triggered by the resignation of Bill Graham. Just looking at the results in the last election in 2006, the Liberals got over half the vote, 52.2%. The NDP second with 23%, the Conservatives 18%, the Greens 5%. So, on the ground, on the weekend before, with a star candidate, how does it look?
Well, I think it kind of looks like there isn't much of a by-election going on. Actually, it's really hard to find a sign anywhere in Toronto Centre, except around the campus where there's some political science students and that kind of thing. Bob Rae's face is on the front page of a weekly newspaper here, and the other candidates aren't too happy about that. It seems right now that Bob Rae is way out ahead, and the fight now is for second place, and that seems to be between the NDP and the Green Party. The Green Party candidate here seems pretty strong, young guy. He's counting on sort of the Green vote to come out for him on St. Patrick's Day. And the NDP candidate here, El Faroukaki, has been very, very active as well. And so it seems like those 2 are kind of duking it out for second place.
Well, that's interesting then. But Bob Rae, I mean, he obviously was a leadership candidate. He was a New Democrat, now a Liberal. He's already the foreign affairs critic for the party. But it would be home and dry for him and the Conservatives. You think might come as low as 4th. Would that be right if the Greens and the NDP are fighting it out for second?
The Conservatives haven't done very well in this riding for some time. There was a bit of a dust-up over the Conservative nomination, if you'll remember correctly. First, there was Mark Warner was going to be the candidate for the Conservatives, and then he was actually removed in favor for the new candidate, Don Meredith. He's a Presbyterian minister. He's been speaking for years about violence and crime in downtown Toronto, the fact that many families here are run by women with no fathers in those families. So he stepped into the breach, but Mark Warner was not happy about being turfed by the Conservatives, and he actually supports Bob Rae now.
Wow. Okay, so that is Toronto Centre. The other riding is Willowdale, which is sort of in central Toronto, just up north of the 401, where it cuts through the city. And that's a riding where, let's look at the results in the 2006 election. The Liberals there got 55% of the vote, the Conservatives second with 29%. The NDP had 11% and the Greens 4%. This time around, the candidate for the Liberals is Martha Hall Finlay, who, as you know, was a candidate for the Liberal leadership. She was the last woman in the race, and she went right to the ballots in Montreal. So, how is it looking in Willowdale?
Well, I spent some time actually with the Conservative and the Liberal candidates today in Willowdale. I dropped by Maureen Harquail's campaign office today, which was extremely quiet. We did the interview in the phone area where there was no one making any phone calls. There are a lot of signs for her, supporting her around Willowdale, but a lot of people don't really think she has much of a shot here. Jim Peterson was the MP for years and years and years in this riding. So for Martha Hall Finlay, what she's been doing is she's been campaigning really hard to make sure that there's name recognition for her, because she says, well, you know, I don't know if it was about Jim or if it was about the Liberals, so I've got to get out there and work really hard to get the vote out on Monday. And
just to get the other candidates' names on, Rini Ghosh is the New Democrat, and Lou Carcassol, is that right, is the Green Party candidate?
Yep.
And
yep, that's right. And
what's happening with the Greens? They came last time, but is there any kind of bump for them, do you think?
I didn't see one sign today. I haven't really seen much. I talked to a lot of people on the streets, and they'd received a lot of information from the NDP candidate. She's a young woman, very well spoken. She ran in the provincial campaign as well, so there is name recognition for her. But no one I spoke to today had much to say about the Green Party candidate. This is really a riding where the Liberal candidate has done very, very well over the last, 20 years, and the Conservatives have always been a strong showing as well in second. second.
So it's really sort of urban-suburban, and Toronto Centre includes the university and some very wealthy areas and some not so wealthy areas. So little microcosms of big city Canada, I guess.
That's right, and there's some real crossover issues too. I mean, everyone's talking about infrastructure, transit, issues that normally you'd think of as sort of at a municipal or provincial level, but people are just fed up with what, they're crumbling streets and they want more buses in these big urban ridings. So this is what people are talking about. Immigration's a big thing here too, post-secondary education.
Right. Okay, Alison, thanks.